So, welcome to part 3 of my room tour, and this time it's the Amiga, one of my favorite computers of all time. And yeah, I learned programming in C on that machine, so that was quite a thing for me, coming from BASIC on the C64 and the Amstrad CPC. And I never had an Amiga 1000 or 3000. I got the 500, which I have down there on the floor. I can't see it right now. And yeah, I had a good friend who worked for the European Space Agency, and he had an Amiga 3000, and he came by one day and taught me C in one night. So I had to learn the VI editor and how to program in C, and that pretty much changed the course of my programming career. Back then I was 13 or 14 by then. Yeah. So let's take a look at my Amigas, and I will start with a very basic Amiga 500. So here's my boxed Amiga 500. I can't quite recall when I got it. I guess this one from eBay 3 or 4 years ago. Sold my Amiga 500, which I painted red. I had a red case back in the day to get a PC. So I switched from Amiga to a 286 12 megahertz PC with, don't know how much memory, but I guess a 20 megabyte hard drive. And yeah, switched to Turbo C there. So let's take a look inside. And inside here I keep pretty much the whole Amiga 500 with a mouse in nice condition, power supply, the manuals, which is Amiga DOS and the user's manual, plus some discs. So we have Workbench 1.2, Amiga Extras and Basic 1.2, some Amiga Plus disc. We have Workbench 1.3, Extras 1.3, First Steps 1.1. Okay. By the way, my Amiga 500 back in the day had Kickstart 1.2 in ROM, so one of the earlier machines. Reflections, Documentum, Amiga Power Pack, Workbench 1.33. So these are the original discs which are stored with the machine. Then we have the machine itself, and it's a stock 500 with, I guess, a trapdoor memory expansion. It says 100% OK on the back. And the serial is 089921, 20. Yeah, stock A500, nothing much to see here, but in very nice condition. So I did restore that to almost new condition, and I really like it. It's the machine that came right after my Amstrad CPC and my Commodore 64. And I was early in the Amiga game, or relatively early. Had to sell all my toys, my Star Wars toys for that, or the remaining ones that I had. Here are some more manuals. Amiga 500 Deluxe Pack. Got those on eBay at some point. Amiga Basic, the Fat Manual, and the Amiga Power Pack. Yeah, so that is that. That's my stock 500, and probably the most uninteresting machine I own. Put this back and take a look at the other machines. So next up we have the box for my Checkmate A1500 Plus case. A case designed by Stephen Jones. If you don't know it, you might have lived under a rock. And this is where I store all my Amiga miscellaneous parts inside. So here are keyboards and stuff like that. We will take a look at the case in a minute. Right. That is the Amiga 500 or the motherboard that I used in the Tower Amiga, which we will see in a minute. Some more manuals, which are doubles for me. Right here. this is the official keyboard case for the A1500. I'm not using this right now, so I have this as a double. You can put an A500 keyboard in here and use it with the case. So here's the matching plug that you put on the other side or in the Amiga 500, and that goes into the keyboard. And then you can use this cable to have an external keyboard. But I'm using the A2000 keyboard, or the A3000 keyboard rather, on my Checkmate, so no need for that. Here's the user's manual for my 1084. Don't have the S anymore, I sold that a while ago. I had so many Amiga stuff. I had, I guess, 4 or 6 A600s and at least 3 A1200s. But when I got the Checkmate case and put in all the stuff, I was happy with that, and I sold all the others. An original version of D-Paint 2. Very proud. Loved this program back in the day. Miscellaneous cables and an external casing, which I didn't need because I used the tech from inside here to connect my GoTech in the A1500 case. Another keyboard feed for the A1500 case, and the good old TV modulator, which I used on my A500 back in the day. I didn't have a monitor, so I used this with the cheapest possible color TV. Picture was horrible, but it was in color, so it was really a step up from my C64, which was black and white on a mini TV, and my Amstrad CPC which was green on a pretty good monitor. Yeah, and some miscellaneous cables. Yeah, so that's what's in here. So I will not go into the details of my Tower Amiga. If you haven't seen the videos, there's a series of, I guess, 3 or 4 videos right now. Check them out. It's a nice machine, has an original A500 drive. CD-ROM is not connected yet, but probably the most interesting thing about this is it uses the internal power supply, and it has a custom I/O shield with all the ports routed out, and it uses a PyStorm. So if you want to know how to set up a PyStorm, check out the videos about the Amiga 500 Tower. And that brings us to the main attraction, which is my A3000 looking Checkmate 1500 Plus case. And I love this case to death. I got an A3000 keyboard, which cost me 200 euros. Only the keyboard, not the computer. And that is pretty much my super nostalgic machine. I want to have a 3000 at some point, but they are obscenely expensive right now, or not to get at all. So on eBay there rarely is one that pops up and they're in poor condition or totally overpriced. So I'm still waiting for my turn there, but until then I have this machine, and let's take a look inside. So before we take a look inside, let's take a look outside, and the back already gives us a pretty good idea of what's happening here. So I have put in a custom power supply, which is right here, and I have a reset switch because with the A2000 and A3000 keyboard I can't do a reset over the keyboard, so that is here. We have the joystick ports and all the ports that come with the Amiga 500. I have a CF card in here. I have my keyboard connector, custom made, if you want to know how to connect a keyboard like the A2000 or A3000 to the A500. Check out the video. I have a GoTech floppy switch, and I have a 3.1 1.3 kickstart switch. Okay, so let's take a look inside. So to open this case you have to remove 2 screws, and then you have to fold it down, and that does release the cover. Yeah, that's pretty much my rat's nest idea of a nice looking machine. We have the power supply board from Stephen Jones. There's a Pico power supply in there. So this connects to my power supply, which is over here. which provides, I guess, 12 volts. Yeah, which provides 12 volts. Powers this, and this then powers the machine, and I use this pretty much only to get the push button working in front of the case. So this does just that. We have the CF card, which is my hard disk. We have the custom keyboard connector here, the switches. We have the standard 3.5-inch disk drive, and we have a GoTech, which has the buzzer on top and the tech of the external floppy drive here, which routes out here and then goes into the floppy port. We have the reset switch, which is connected here on the Gary, pins 1 and 5. We have the drive selector over here, which gives me the ability to switch between GoTech and floppy as DF0. And we have the kickstart switcher. Yeah, that is down under this. It's not called Witcher, it's called Vicher 508i, and that gives the Amiga a little power boost, and also gives it an IDE connection so that I can use a hard disk inside my Amiga. So that's an accelerator card and memory expansion. So let's switch on the machine and see what it does. Okay, machine is connected, let's fire it up. And there we are in Workbench. Yeah, so there's actually, I guess it's on GoTech right now, so we get a DF1 NDOS because there's the great Gianna sisters loaded right now. So yeah, that is, so I have a few tools and stuff on here, most notably dpaint 3 and GFA Basic, which was my go-to basic before I learned the C programming language, and it did a lot in GFA Basic. I had a friend who had an Atari ST, so we could pretty much, not exactly, but pretty much swap programs between the machines, and you could compile GFA Basic, and it was relatively fast if you did that. Yeah, so GFA Basic was my go-to programming language until I discovered C and later C++ on the PC. Don't know if there are any games in here. No. So the only game here is Eye of the Beholder, because you can install it on hard disk. Didn't use that machine too often because I'm more of a build the machine and leave it as it is than use it. As you can see, I have about 12 megs of RAM, but I only have the 512K chip RAM, which is not great for most things, so I will have to mod this at some point, give it the fat Agnes, and yeah, put in a memory expansion for that. So this now loads from the GoTech. It's Kickstart 1.3, so I have pretty much all the games I want. No need for the disk drive, but I could use the disk drive and it would work perfectly fine. And the Great Gianna Sisters is one of the few games I ever completed. I'm not the greatest gamer, as I said. I'm more of a game programming guy than a game playing guy. Yeah, I quickly want to show you the GoTech that's in here. It's a standard GoTech and it's black, as you have seen from the inside, and this was before the days that I had a 3D printer, so I used the original case and had to put in this 2-row display instead of the just number display, and I painted this with the pretty much matching color to this case, and I will put the info about this color somewhere down below here. Again, I'm using the Retro Fighter joystick, so if you don't know how to make one yourself, check out the video. There's a neat little trick in level 2, which I can show you. It's not one that gives you a very high score, but it's one that lets you just finish the level very quickly. Check that out. Wait for it. And yes, there are warp zones in level 1 and 2 and stuff like that. But well, that was the trick I knew back in the day. And it's the one game I don't totally suck at. Yeah, that's great Genesis. So apart from the classic Lucasfilm games like Zed McCracken and Monkey Island, there were 3 games which I played the hell out of. The first being Dungeon Master. When Dungeon Master came out on the Atari ST, I was blown away by this game. And it took, I guess, a year or 2 to port it to the Amiga. And yeah, that was really something. And I still have an original copy, not my original copy, but it's the same, pretty much the same issue I had. The other game was Emerald Mine 1 and 2. This is, I guess, a classic Emerald Mine, and did 3D print stand for it, so it's in the background of the videos sometimes. That was just one hell of a game because it was a 2-player Boulder Dash, and I don't know how many hours we spent playing this game with friends. Same goes for the third game, which I don't own, which is Dyna Blaster, which had a 4-player adapter which you could plug into the parallel port of the Amiga. Then you could play this with 4 people, and it's pretty much Bomberman. And we loved that game. We had so much fun and such a good time with these games. So another game I really loved was Populous by Bullfrog. Yeah, that we did play, I guess, with a null modem cable. And you could play 2 players in a versus mode. Then there's Rock'n'Roll, also a great game by Rainbow Arts from Düsseldorf, right next town here. No. And of course Lemmings. This is Lemmings Stripes, don't have the original Lemmings for the Amiga, but Lemmings was great. It was a great game. And there was recently a port to the C64 with Petsky characters, which is really hilarious and great. So yeah, another great game. Yeah, all in all, that is my Amiga collection. So let's maybe take a look at some magazines. There were quite a few magazines for the Amiga. The most popular one would be the Markentechnik Amiga magazine, which I guess started in '85. The earliest issue I have is of June '88. And yeah, that's when 3 new Amigas came out, which would be the 500, the 2000, and I can't quite recall what the third was. Ah, okay, so this was actually the announcement of the A2000 and the 2500. And of course the 500, which came out, was that '88? This one was earlier. Okay, so then we have the 591, which had the Lemmings. Let me quickly check if this is in here. I guess all the games content was torn out of here. And you had the classic yeah, 80s or 90s look. The ads for different hardware extensions you could buy. I had that one, that sound digitizer. Pretty useless, but great fun. Yeah, so in here you had the classic categories: news, graphics, tips and tricks, Amiga knowledge, Amiga professional, which whatever, you had CAD programs and video stuff and stuff like that. Hardware section, software test, public domain, which was great on the Amiga with the fish disks. Just going over the covers here. 10 copy programs. AREX was something back in the day, I remember that. Here's the CDTV coming out in 91. And there's actually a GFA Basic tutorial. Oh yeah, and I did actually write an article for this book here. Animation, earn money with your computer. Ah yeah, and there was actually an Amiga convention or expo right behind my house here in Cologne for many years, the Amiga convention. And I live right next to the convention center here in Cologne. So for me it's a 10-minute walk. And the classic Markt und Technik Amiga books. I guess I have a few of them somewhere. Yeah, PowerPlay was my go-to magazine, and I actually know a few of these guys here in person. And they were our heroes back then. And of course the usual crappy Data Becker book series. And I had this one, the Demo Maker, which was quite nice. You could do your own demos without programming with different fonts and stuff like that. And the listings, of course, which I often typed in, but not as often as on the C64. There's actually a job posting. Oh, that is interesting, because I worked for that company. So Channel Videodot was a company which was pretty much the internet before the internet. And what it did was you got a box, a black box, I have one of these around somewhere, and you hooked it up to your TV, and if you watched TV, the TV cropped the image and the upper scan lines were not used. So Channel Videodot actually did, and the channel on which this was Pro 7 or Pro 7, they sent data in these top lines which you couldn't see on your TV. And with a set-top box connected to your satellite or your cable connection, you could actually read out this data and download programs. So there was kind of a timetable, and it said like at 9 o'clock we are sending you a financial program, and at 10 o'clock we are sending you that and that program. So you could use a software, and I did that software on that machine for Amiga and PC, and you could say I want to download the program at 9, and then the set-top box would switch on and the computer would download the program down from that. That was my first job as a project manager, was for Channel Videodot in Brühl. And they came out of a very popular computer TV show in Germany, which was WDR Computer Club, with two Wolfgangs, not affiliated. Yeah, so that is very interesting to see. You can't use this box anymore because, well, the channel still exists, but it doesn't send analog TV, and so there's no data encoded in the signal anymore. Yeah, here's a new A500 Plus in November of 91, and even more in December of 91. So that is quite a nice time capsule, so you can pretty much put the finger on when which machine came out, when which software came out. I just noticed Amos here, which I also programmed in, not Amos 3D, but the original Amos, which is a game basic or game programming basic. And that was pretty cool. I guess Stephen Jones now has a book on Amos with his new case, the A1500 mini case, but there's a more compact case than the one I have here. And I guess there's actually a manual for Amos, and that was great too. So without any assembly language or C programming language, you could do real attractive and interesting games. And I guess there were even some commercial games with Amos. Sure, like, I think I should do an episode about Amos and GFA Basic and all that old stuff. Yeah, so that concludes this video. Thanks for watching, as always. If you have any comments, any ideas, if you want to know how I did some of the things I showed you here, just let me know. Check out the Amiga Tower, the Retro Fighter joystick video. And yeah, as I said, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Retro is the New Black. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you like the video, please share. Every like, share, and comment helps a lot. Until next time, bye-bye.